About Bitcoin in the last few months as the price of the digital currency has soared and scandal surrounds the bankruptcy of a major Bitcoin exchange. But there's one major thing. It's been a mystery for years. Who created Bitcoin? Well, this is the original paper that first proposed Bitcoin. It is credited to Satoshi Nakamoto, but nobody knew who that was or whether it was a pseudonym. And then on Thursday came a big breakthrough. Newsweek magazine says it found Satoshi Nakamoto. It says he's actually called Dorian Satoshi Nakamoto, a 64-year-old Japanese-American engineer living in California. And that revelation is sent reporters on a car chase through Los Angeles in an effort to learn the truth. But the man they were chasing later denied that he's the man behind Bitcoin.
I have nothing to do with Bitcoin. I never worked for the company. I don't know any people there. I never had a contract there or anything like that. And I wasn't even aware of the product.
Leah McGrath Goodman was the journalist who broke that story in Newsweek magazine. She joins me now live from New York. Leah, thank you so much for joining us. What a blockbuster story. And you heard it just then. Mr. Nakamoto, on camera, he denies any link to Bitcoin. So is he truly the creator of Bitcoin?
Well, I saw that too. It was a very different conversation than the one I had outside of his house with police officers there. So, you know, the question is how do we reconcile what he said to me and what he said to them?
Yeah, and how do you reconcile that?
I would like to reconcile that. I was talking to the West Coast journalists yesterday, and they were giving me a very different story than the one that I experienced when I spoke to him.
Could you back up a little bit and tell us, how did you manage to track him down?
Well, excuse me. I ended up working with a team of forensic researchers, analysts, and we went through all the strands that we could possibly find, from pseudonyms to ciphers to someone whose name might really be Satoshi. And we narrowed down those leads over the course of 2 months. And yesterday, one of the West Coast reporters said to me, "We're puzzling because we don't know how to prove it's not him." And I said, join the boat. I have been trying to find a reason to think that it is not this man since I began. And, you know, it's all about eliminating candidates when you do this kind of research. And it's not about looking for things to support it. It's looking for things that will cancel people out. When I confronted him, his acknowledgement of Bitcoin and saying that he was no longer connected and that he had turned it over to other people, that to me was sort of the final step. You know, we talked very specifically about only Bitcoin. There was no miscommunication. There was no confusion.
Yeah, you went through this lengthy process elimination. He eventually revealed to you that he is, in fact, the brains behind Bitcoin. But many in the Bitcoin community, they're still skeptical about your report. They're skeptical about your evidence, saying that it's circumstantial. So how do you respond to them?
I think asking all the questions we can is a good thing. I have a lot of questions. I had been able to do a full interview with him at that time, and he had not been so nervous. There were many things I would have asked him, and I did try to ask. So I think we should just continue asking these questions. I will be, and I have assurances from many of the reporters on the West Coast they will be as well.
So, Leah, should we expect a follow-up piece from you?
I think right now we're talking about how we want to put something together. So I will say tentatively yes.
Okay, good to hear. Now, the piece, the first one that came out, the cover story of Newsweek out this week, it was also criticized for showing the photographs of Mr. Nakamoto's home. Do you think that was the correct thing to do? Do you think that was a mistake?
I have not talked to the graphics team yet about the decision-making on this, but I trust very much that Newsweek has those conversations and considered that very carefully. I think when we heard some of the feedback, I think that there were some things that were corrected, like, for example, I think the license plate, I think the intention was to blur it, is my understanding, and I think they went ahead and did that afterward.
Yeah, and there was that, feedback out there about the details of his personal life being shown through the imagery, through the graphics department, because of just how volatile Bitcoin is right now, and of course, Bitcoin valuation, billions of dollars at stake here. Do you think Mr. Nakamoto could be in any danger? Does he have reason to fear for his life? Would people want to hunt him down?
Well, as you know, or I think at this point it's been established, I'm the finance editor for Newsweek, and so I cover Wall Street. And the people that I write about who buy penthouses and who make a great deal more money than what we're talking about with Satoshi. I think, we know the addresses of many very wealthy people as part of, working in the finance sector and writing about it. The idea that that just immediately means danger to me is, I don't want to say naive because I don't want to insult anyone, but that would be to go so far as to say that everyone who either invents something important or is potentially wealthy to a certain degree is in danger of being, I saw the word murdered on Twitter yesterday too many times to not feel queasy about it.
Of course, of course. At the end of the day, your profile, it really is a profile about a man, a very ordinary person who, as Newsweek and his report claims to be behind this amazing phenomenon, this global phenomenon that is Bitcoin. Could you tell me more about him, Dorian S. Nakamoto? Because when I see the photographs and the videos of him, he strikes me as a very simple and eccentric person. What is he really like in person?
Well, simple, definitely not. Eccentric, it does seem that those who are closest to Dorian have that impression of him. And, some of the intelligence I was getting sort of behind the scenes on what happened yesterday in the West Coast, it was very much the same thing. I think he struck a number of the journalists as a real individual. He definitely has very strong interests according to those close to him. It was clear when I was looking online, while he's very private about his work, very private, he has hobbies that he's quite open about, and one of them was the train modeling. He's very interested in live steam locomotives, and he will collect them and rebuild them and modify them and upgrade them, and he is quite focused on things like wonderful engineering. He loves technology, and there's many pictures online that he's taken of nature. He seems to be a great lover of the mountains and the sea.
A true individual, a complex individual, too. Leah McGrath Goodman of Newsweek, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to reading your follow-up work. It was quite a scoop. Thank you.